Guys, in this video we're gonna have a look at how to make some cool visual effects using Blender. We're gonna try to track the motion of a footage and then we're gonna add some sci-fi elements into it. We're gonna add some mega structures and some other elements to make it look cooler. So let's get started. The first thing we're gonna do is to just go ahead, click the plus here, go to VFX and click motion tracking. It's going to open up our motion tracking tab. We just need to load our footage into Blender. Before we do that, we can come up to output settings. We can change it accordingly. So we have to set the resolution and frame rate according to the footage. To check it, you just have to come up here, right click and just go to properties, and here in details, you will be able to see the frame width and height and the frame rate. So the frame rate is 30 frames per second. So we're going to go ahead and set this to 30 frames per second to mesh the video. The resolution is fine. Let's click open and go to the directory where we have the files. So I have it here. This is the video file. I'm going to click open. And okay, so the ending frame is going to be somewhere around 300 and maybe somewhere right here. Okay, so go to the first frame, and what you can do before you start tracking is to come up to the render setting, scroll down into color management and change it from AGX to standard to get the color back. And after that, what you can do is to start tracking it. Well, there's a bunch of options here and they work for their specific situation. But in our case, we don't have a complex shot, so we're gonna go with a very easy and very straightforward way, which is like you can add a tracker into the scene by clicking add and manually adding them. But I'm a bit lazy, so I'm gonna go ahead and go for detect features. The default settings down here are perfectly fine, so we're gonna click detect features. Now, as you can see, it's going to add some trackers. So if I click this button here, I can increase the amount of it by decreasing the threshold value and also the distance value. If you decrease the distance, it's going to get more points in here, right? So once you add those amount of points, you can just track forward and it's going to start tracking it. After you finish, what you can do here is again detect features and track backward. So if we just expand this one, you can see we got some problem here. The line is straight for some, but there is a bit of spikes going up and down. It is because, for example, if I select this tracker, right, like for example, this is the tracker. So the problem with this tracker is it's not staying on its place. For example, if you look into this, as you can see, it's moving from its place. So it's like really distracting the tracker, right? So we gotta select it and hit delete by hitting X and delete. And we also got some other one, for example, these one. If I have a look on these one right here, and if I come up here, as you can see, it's just jumping around. It's really bad for camera track. So let's see, get rid of it by hitting X and delete. We got some more here. We're gonna delete all of them as well, like this one. And yeah, we got a straightforward line here, and it's okay. So now what we can do is to go to solve here. We got a bunch of options, right? We gonna go for the important one. The first one is to turn on focal length because we don't know the camera focal length of the camera, right? So the other thing is that we want. So what is keyframe A and keyframe B? Actually, it's basically the location of the camera, right? So you have to select two frame where there is too much of perspective change, right? If I say okay, at frame number 50, the camera is right here, but at frame number 200, the camera went from here to here. So there is too much of perspective change and the camera position. So you have to be precise with it. You have to choose two frame that has the most perspective change to help Blender solve the motion of the camera, right? So here we're going to choose 150 for keyframe B, and for keyframe A, we're going to choose maybe 50 or something. Like, so if you look at this, there's a huge motion in these two frames. And then we're going to click solve camera motion and it's going to solve it. Let's switch for these. Now we got the average error of 0.25, which is perfectly fine. Anything that is less than 1 is perfectly fine. And we got it significantly smaller. So that's really a good sign of a perfect track, right? So once you do that, you gotta go scroll, you're gonna scroll down into scene setup right here. You can click Save as background, and it's going to load the video as the camera background to just see it, right? And then also click the setup tracking scene, and it's going to add a bunch of points into our scene. So now what we can do is to actually orient our scene. So for that, we can use the orientation right here. We got floor here, we got wall here, we got set origin. The first thing you have to do is to select an origin point, for example, this one, and say, okay, you are the origin. So you just click it and it's assigned it into there. But the perspective doesn't match it. In order to match the perspective, you can select 3 points. I'm going to select this one, click shift and select this one, and shift and this one, and click floor. And as you can see, it's not perfect, but it's somewhere around there. And the other thing is, before we change the orientation, we can actually scale down the scene because the scale of the scene is very huge. So the cube is extremely small right here. So you can select 2 points, or select first this one and then this one, and click set scale. Now, as you can see, it's a bit bigger, so you just have to increase the distance between these 2 points and click set scales. And as you can see, it's now significantly smaller. It's still very big because if you look into the houses, they are very small, and the cube is like one human. Like the height of the cube is like one human. So it's like not perfectly one human, but it's similar. So if you compare this to the houses, it's not very smaller. So you can increase the distance further and set scale. We can't really see it because if you select the camera, go to camera settings, you got the ending point to 100 meter. You can only see things within 100 meter. So we're gonna go ahead and just add 1 0 to see the stuff. And now as you can see, we got something in here. Yeah, we're gonna just move and make it maybe 70 or something, set scale. Yeah, it's not perfect, but still hold up to the scale of the scene, right? Okay, so now we can actually, if you play it, for example, as you can see, the cube is staying there, and that's what we want, right? Maybe you can change it to here. If I say, okay, set origin to this point, and yeah, it's looking cool, right? One thing we can do is to change this to, like right now, if you rotate this, it's gonna rotate on the origin. But if you change this to 3D cursor, it's going to rotate around the 3D cursor. So you can slightly click R and slightly rotate it on Y-axis, like so, to just slightly match it with the perspective. And now if you play it, that's how it's going to look like. And as you can see, the cube is staying there, and that's what exactly we want, right? Okay, the tracking is done. If you select the camera, go under background image and increase the opacity to a higher value like this, and then come up here and turn off floor. And for now, maybe we can scale this up to see what we got here. And also we can just hit G, Z, and 1 to move the cube a bit higher. So that's what we got here, and we're gonna save the file. We're gonna call it a sci-fi VFX and hit enter and save Blender file, right? So the tracking is done. Now let's get back into layout. So here is our layout, and if you go to camera view, that's how it looks like. So now we have done tracking. It's time to add some CG elements into it. So what I actually want is a big donut-like structure here, which is very huge, and some buildings around. Um, I just wanna make it feel like it's some sort of science fiction, futuristic kind of thing, right? So first of all, we're gonna come up here and turn on motion tracking. As you can see now, the trackers are appeared, and you can actually add stuff into it. Okay. So the first thing we're gonna do is to come up here. We're gonna delete the cube because we don't really need it. And Shift A, we're gonna go to Mesh and we're gonna go ahead into Torus. We're going to scale it up by 50 or something. Yes. So now if you just play it, you can see this object is staying on its place, and that's what we want. The other thing that we're going to do is to select this one, Shift A, cursor to select it, and then we can add object into it. Shift A, we're gonna add a cube, maybe scale it up, maybe move it on Z axis by 10, no, not 10, G and Z, and just move it like this. And if you scale it, it's gonna scale from 3D cursor, and we're going to scale it like this. All right, and if we come out here, yeah, it looks like this. I think we can do one thing that is a bit important for this shot. If you come up to motion tracking back again, we can actually turn those trackers into 3D meshes for shadows, right? Like perfectly, you know what I'm saying? So what I mean here is we're going to select a few tracker. I'm gonna click C for circle selection and select a few of them like this, and then shift and just move around and click C and just select multiple trackers. And yeah. All right, so we selected all those trackers. Maybe I'm gonna select these one as well. And now you can come up to geometry here, and you can say 3D markers to mesh. When you click this and get back to layout, as you can see, we got a new mesh here, which is tracks, and it is actually a mesh. So if you go to camera view, you can see it here. And the best part is you can go into edit mode, and actually those are all vertices, right? If you select all those, and as you can see, those are all just vertices, right? I'm gonna go ahead and select these by clicking Shift and click F to fill in between. And again, this one, that one, click F. There might be a better way, but right now I just know this way to actually make the mesh around. And now I'm gonna go ahead. Okay, when you don't see the point, just hit A to see it, and then you can select it like this by clicking Shift and left click, Shift and left click, and hit F. And do the same with those as well. So here is an overall mesh of what we have here. And the one thing I want to do is like now it got a bit strange here, like it's intersecting with the ground here. What we can do is actually we can select this part by clicking C and hit P and separate this selection and then turn it off for now. We're gonna deal with this later on, but for now we just have a rough idea on how our terrain looks like. And if I turn on our cube, that's how it looks like. And if I go into edit mode and wireframe actually, and we're gonna click F to fill it. I'm going to click E and extrude it like this. And then I'm gonna go ahead and click F to fill it. If I come up to solid again, that's how it looks like. So that's what I'm trying to say here. Is for example, if you play it, it's gonna stay in its place, and that's the best part in it. So what you can do here is it's a bit boring to see this terrain, so you can come up to object and under viewport display, you can turn on wires, so you only see wires here. But for now, we're gonna turn this into solid, like so, because I want another building here, so that's why I'm doing it. And you can also save your file. And if you go into material view, for example, you can select your track here and go into material, add a new material, and you can add a holdout. So what it does, it actually masks out anything behind it. For example, if I select this object and try to move it, as you can see, it's going under the ground. That's what it does. It actually masks out anything behind it, right? So it's really an amazing shader that I really like. I always use it. This shot, and if you go into render mode, nothing really happened. And right now we just see this plane here, which is just nothing, right? So the first thing you have to do is to go to render settings, turn this into cycles render because it's important, and then turn this into GPU compute so we get a bit faster computation, and turn on denoise for now, at least, and scroll down into film right here and turn on transparent. And now as you can see, everything is transparent. And okay, so we have added holdout material into it, but it makes one problem. The problem is that now there is no shadows on the ground, and that's a big problem with the holdout. So what you can do actually is just remove the holdout for now and go into object settings, scroll down into visibility. Right here, you got two options for mask. One is the holdout, which is we used before in the material, but we're going to turn this off. We need shadow catcher. Now, what shadow catcher does, it actually removes anything behind it, but at the same time, it casts shadows from other objects, right? Let's do the same for our other objects. So let's go to material, remove the material, come up to object settings under visibility, turn on mask here, and also do the same for the ground. It's a shadow catcher as well. And yeah, cool. You don't see any shadows, right? And it's because we don't have any light. And that's, first of all, let's remove this light because it does nothing. Just hit X and delete. We are having a neutral light here, which is just one color and it's not really good. So you can achieve lighting with different ways. For now, we're gonna just for testing purpose, we're gonna use a sunlight. So Shift A, go to light, add a sunlight. And if you go to the top here, you can just rotate it. And as you can see, it casts shadows. And that's exactly what the shadow catcher does. And it's really handy to make shadows and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So this is facing that direction. But if you look into our footage doesn't have any sort of sunlight. It has sunlight, but it is somewhere around there. And like here, it's just a patch of sunlight because there is cloud going on. That's why it's very neutral and there's no directional lighting too much, at least. So what you can do here in the sunlight settings, you can actually increase the angle. So and what angle does if you make it zero, it has a very sharp kind of shadows. But if you set this to a higher number, for example, maybe some sort of angle of 84 or something, you get a result like this, and it's really good, actually. And it really blurs out every single shadows in your shot. And yeah, you can increase the strength to 10. Oh no, it's a bit brighter. No, maybe 2. Okay, you can use sunlight. It's all whatever you wish, right? But for me, I would like to use an HDRI. Why HDRI? Because sunlight is just some sort of white color coming from one direction. That's it. There's no detail in sunlight. There's no reflection coming from the environment. There's nothing that actually makes the lighting a bit complicated, right? So right now it's a bit flat and it's not really interesting. So we're gonna turn this off because we don't need it. I was just telling you that here is an option called Sun in Blender. So now go to world setting, click this dot here, and you will be able to see the environment texture. You can click open and you can add your environment texture into it. I have it here already downloaded from Polyhaven actually. It's a really great place for HDRI's texture and stuff. And yeah, you can just load up. So it's not gonna be perfect. I'm not sure what HDRI I will be using, but I'm gonna taste it from Polyhaven. So let's just go into polyhaven.com. Yeah, I guess this is it. Yeah, this one. You can download the 4K version. Let's click download and it's going to download this thing. We're gonna So the HDRI is downloaded. I'm gonna load it here. Yeah, it's right here. I'm gonna search for where is it? Yeah, right here. Query cloud, whatever. Okay, so I think there's not a huge difference, but we can actually make the strength a bit down to maybe 0.5 or something. Um, all right. Okay. And the other thing, if you go into material view, you will see that our mesh is white, right? So what you can do, you can come up to the first frame, come to the material, add a new material into it, and go into edit mode, select everything, hue, and project from view. So what it does, it actually, well, it's project from view. That's what it does. So when you add a texture into it, it will exactly align with the video. So if I go into Shader Editor and I can screenshot these by just using a snipping tool. After a screenshot, I can load this here. So Shift A, image texture. I'm gonna open up a new texture, go to pictures, go to screenshots, and just select the screenshot that we just did and connect it to the base color. So right now, if you zoom into it, that's how it looks like. And right now it is a bit sharper, so you can come up to modifiers and maybe you can shade smooth or shade auto smooth. But what one thing you can do is to make the roughness higher and the specular to 0. It really matches up. And yeah, if you go into render mode, the reflection is going to be very accurate from the ground. For example, if you turn off the shadow catcher, you can see it is what it is, right? Turn on the shadow catcher, but it's still reflecting into the objects, right? Now select the other guy and go into edit mode, select everything and hit U, project from view. And if you come up here, which material is it? It is material 3. So select the other guy and add material 3 into it. And then select the ground, go into edit mode, click U, project from view and come to object mode and add material 3. Now, as you can see, it's changed. If you if you select this one and if look how it affects the torus. If you turn off it, as you can see, uh, if you delete the material, as you can see, it's all the way white. But if you add the material again, it's darkish, and that's what we are looking for. All right. So the other thing we're gonna do is to just save the file because it's important. So after building up a basic scene, now it's time to add details into it. I just want to add assets into it. Now, we're not going to render out the torus right now because it is just a hero object representing how our hero object will be located at, and it's not a final object at all. So for this, we're going to use Sketchfab. Well, Sketchfab is a platform where you will get a bunch of free assets that is really cool, and they just feel easy to use, right? You don't have to model all those details. You can start modeling it yourself, but right now I'm gonna use asset from Sketchfab. So yeah, so the first thing we're gonna do is to download some asset. So I'm downloading some asset from this guy. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's Remonsen. I'm not sure if it's correct, but really thanks to that guy for making all those assets. And I think those are just some amazing asset on his Sketchfab profile, and I really like it. So I'm gonna use some of them. I'm gonna use this one. Now it's a spaceship, I know, but we're gonna use it for something really different. We're gonna use it as a building. And it's a very ridiculous idea, but I'm still gonna use it because I really like this model. And I think this guy also made a tutorial about making this object using his add-on called Random Flow. And yeah, I'm not just, it's not a sponsor or anything, but I really like this guy's work. And he has an add-on called Random Flow to make this kind of objects. And I just like that. So let's use this one. I'm also going to use that one as well, because this can be a really good model. Look at all those details. Now they're low resolution, but we're not going for close-up shot. We're just making faraway shots that can make prove the idea, right? And then he got a bunch of stuff on his profile. I might use some of those, but I'll put the link to all the asset I'm using in this video in the description down below, so you can just check them out. I'm not going to explain all of those models, but for sure, I'm going to give credit and links in the description to all the amazing artists who did this job. For your information, I just want to make clear that these details are done with an add-on called Random Flow. And if you want to use it, you can just search for Random Flow add-on Blender and you will find it on Superhive. And it's just an amazing add-on. I really love it. I have it, but I'm not gonna do it with this in this video because it's gonna take time. So I'm just using those assets, right? Like as you can see, those are the detail that it can create, and you can just make a bunch of stuff with it. Any kind of sci-fi random object, just in a few clicks. So I have all those three objects. I might add more objects in later on, but for now, we're just gonna have a look in these. So for the donut, we're gonna use this spaceship model. I'm gonna rotate it on X 90 degree, Z, Y, I guess. Yeah, 90, negative 90. All right. So let's get rid of this thing. By hitting X and delete. And we're going to rotate these on y-axis. All right. We need a better scale. Okay, so I'm gonna go into edit mode. I'm gonna select these down and shift A, cursor to select it. Right click, origin to 3D cursor. So now we can scale from its bottom. I want something that is higher. Okay, so I'm gonna turn on the gizmo so I can see which axis is which. I can scale this on Z axis like so, and then I can hit Alt and D and move it on Z axis, and then rotate on Y on 180 degree. Oh, okay. I'm gonna go to the top view and I'm going to put it right here. You get it? Something like this. And if I go into camera view, that's how it looks like. I might make this smaller on Z-axis and move it backward. Maybe move this forward a bit, like so. So we get this stack of multiple layers. You know what I'm saying? And also, now this cube here, it's just a representation of something. We're gonna touch this later on. I think I'm gonna put these a little bit backward. I'm gonna go into camera view, G, and move it somewhere. So I imported all the assets and just move them one to here and one to there. And the other guy is right here. But before we do anything to these, we're gonna do another step. We're gonna get back to motion tracking again, and we're gonna go to the first frame. We're going to select some trackers. I'm going to select this one and hit C. Select this one, and that one, and all of those. And then just click 3D markers to mesh, get back to layout, and go into edit mode. Click A. All right, so let's select, where is it? Yeah, right here. Go into edit mode, go into vertex selection mode, and you can then select or deselect it. So let's just start making mesh around it. Let's click A to see where is our points, and then click F again. Oh, okay, so there's animation in this object. So select it and hit X and delete. I thought I lost it. So Shift A, start, okay, and scale it up like so, and rotate it on Z axis. And maybe we can scale it a bit and just move it down, move it backward. Maybe, I'm not sure. Yeah. So I'm not really sure if it's going to work or not, but I'm putting it here. And if I go into render mode, save the file, that's how it looks like. Now it's not really blending because we need the material for these shadow catcher, right? If you go into material view, it's just a white material and it's not really reflecting good stuff. So go into edit mode, select everything, click Q and project from view, and then come to material and assign the same material, which is material 3 to it. So come up here, assign material 3, and as you can see now, it's matching. And if I go into render mode, it's gonna be much better than before. Yeah, you can see it's dark there and it's really blending with the shot, right? So that's how you do it. That's how you add asset into that scene. Now you can just be crazy with it because you got multiple power here. You got Sketchfab with a bunch of assets with like unlimited amount of assets that you can just grab from here and add it into your scene to make it more complex and make it just look nicer, right? So that's how it's done. Yeah, we can add more asset here, here, here in the back as well, which can really make the entire shot look cool and cinematic, right? So right now we added all those objects. If I go into material view, I will be able to see through these, right? So what I want to do here is I want to add one building right here, and it's going to be like a specific or a very special shape building, and then some smaller building down here because this is a good location for other stuff, right? And I can actually add some spaceship in there if we want. I can add some other building far away here and here to actually make it look to actually add depth into it. So now we're gonna make the smaller building down here. And for these, I found a free pick for you guys. It is done by where's the guy? Chuck CG. It has a YouTube channel as well, and it makes really good tutorials. So these are free asset pick. I'm gonna put the link to it as well. Thank you, Suji, for providing those assets for free. Now I know those are not very detailed for close-up shot, but for like small, for like huge scene, it's perfectly fine, and you can just use those assets. Okay, so right here I have imported all those. I don't want to use this bigger one, but I just want the smaller one here, and I imported those in here, right? I have it here, down here, right? They are right here. Okay. So some of them are very small, so I'm gonna go ahead and make them a bit bigger. I'm gonna select those, go into edit mode, click okay, so I'm going to scale them up, right? I'm gonna scale these up and I'm gonna move this, right? Okay, so this is what I got. I actually made the entire thing. You know the process, so I was not have to explain everything to you. Okay, so I want specifically in this part, the particle needs to be here. So for that, the first thing I'm gonna do is to go into here and subdivide it, add a subdivisions. There's a problem here, and you can see it. But I think we don't need subdivisions. But maybe we need it because we need to select these areas specifically. If I go into camera view, I go into wireframe. I want these area to be included. So I'm gonna go ahead and click C. I'm just gonna go ahead and select all those. Maybe maybe not these. Hit Control and drag to deselect those. These one as well. Maybe that one. If I go into camera view, no, not this one because Control Z. Control Z. This one is good. This one is not good. Um, I think if I select these guys and these one as well and subdivide those, because subdivision is important, and then I click C and select all of them like so. Sorry, I'm just being too random right now, but I hope you get me. So yeah, I'm gonna select these one as well right here, not those one because they're touching the road. Maybe yeah. So right here, if you go to these object data, you can add a new vertex group and click assign here. Going into solid view, maybe I can also assign these as well. Assign. Okay, so go to object mode, go into particle system. First of all, select all of them, right? Those smaller objects and move them into a new collection. Like these, I'm going to select all those and hit M and click new collection to move it. I already did, so you don't have to. So select your object, go into particle system, click plus and click here, click advanced, right? And scroll down here, you will find these render A's, turn these. All right. So once you add those to collection, you select your main object, click Shift and D to duplicate it. Now in the particle settings, click plus button, click here, click advanced and scroll down here. First of all, turn these off for render, show emitter. So we turn this off so we don't see in final render. And also turn off the show emitter, right? And then go into object setting and turn off the shadow catcher as well for these duplicated object. Get back into particle system right here, change these to collection and choose collection 4 that we just created. Now, as you can see, we get all those particles here, but they're not rotating the same direction. So first of all, click pick object rotation and then pick random and then come up here to rotation, change these to global Y like this and scroll down into vertex group and to select group here. Go into camera view and okay, so we got a problem here. First of all, we got to scroll up into the source here, change these to random. So we get a random scattering. So I'm going to go into wireframe. Okay, so the problem is that they are coming into the road here. I don't want them to be there. So go into edit mode, come up here and click select. So you select all those what is this? I'm going to deselect, sorry, I'm just going to go ahead into top view and I'm going to select these one. All those on the border are actually the one that makes problem. So I'm going to select all those. by clicking C and just dragging, and click remove here. So we remove them from the group. And now you can see they are only there where we want them to be. So if you go into edit mode, select those and right click, subdivide those. Maybe we can add these one by clicking C and just dragging those like so, right? And maybe we can just click assign to assign those. And now if you go into camera view, as you can see, we get a perfect distribution because now we don't see the buildings touching the road here. So right now, what I'm gonna do, I'm going to go to camera particle system, and I'm gonna scale this up uh, a bit bigger, and I'm gonna go ahead and change the seed like so. And now we have a bunch of buildings. I'm going to save the file, right? And okay, so if I go into edit mode, I can actually okay, anyways, that's fine. That's fine. Let's go into render mode and see what here. Make sure to save your file before you go into render mode because sometime this shit going to crash. So that's a huge problem with Blender. Not with Blender, but every software get to crash. Right now we're out of GPU. Okay, so let's just change it to CPU and save the file. Go into render mode and so we can see what's going on. It might be slower, but yeah, we will have something. Yeah, like this, you can, what is it? Why do we have an object here? For no specific reason, we got something here. Oh, so it's the center of it, right? So we're gonna click and say the center is here, so we don't see this object. Okay. Let's save the file. And yeah, that's how you add those smaller buildings. So on Sketchweb, I found this model. Now I know it's a spaceship and its name is Spaceship AB007, but we're gonna use it as a building, some sort of building. I don't know. It's science fiction, and we don't know what it's doing, but it's doing something. It's done by Muffin One. It's a great artist. I'm gonna put the link to it as well. Yeah, you can download it for free and just hit download at the FBX and it's going to start downloading. Once it's finished, we can import this FBX file into Blender and then we can work with it. So yeah, let's wait for this. And maybe I can slightly move it here. Yeah, like so, and just save the file like this, is like so. Okay, so to mix it up perfectly, you can see on the ground there is a sunlight coming through the clouds. So what we can do is select this object, click Shift A, cursor to selected, and click Shift A, then add a light. It's going to be a spotlight. Then we just move it up, right? And we're going to give it a huge strength, like 6,000. And then rotate it towards our object. Now it's not very strong. Let's go for like let's add another 0 into it so it's very strong. And also make the radius. we also got some further away points as well, like right here. And yeah, you can also do it with these ones. So Shift A is cursor to selected, select this one right here, right click, select hierarchy, Alt and D, duplicate it, and then select this object, Shift A selection to cursor. Now it's going to snap all those objects into there. Rotate these on Z axis like so, and move those upward, right? So they moves up here, and then select those as well. Just move them up like so. Move these down a bit as well. This one as well. Shift A, add a plane, scale it up like so, and move it down. Slightly rotate it on Y axis like this, and just put it down here. Maybe slightly rotate these on this axis. Go into edit mode, select this one, click E, Z, and just move it towards X axis just a bit. And yeah, also go into edit mode, select everything, click Q, project from view, and get back, and add material 3 into it as well, and say you are a shadow catcher. Let's save the file. Yeah, let's have a look. Maybe we can slightly scale. Okay, so Shift H cursor to selected, and then change this to 3D cursor, and then we can scale it down a bit. Yeah, Control S to save the file. Now you can go into render mode to see how it really looks like. Yeah, as you can see, we added another object as well, which looks like the same. I don't know what their function is, what they're doing there, but it does something, so I'm just adding it. There's all right. So now it's time to add a big cube. I'm gonna add a cube here. I'm gonna go into solid mode. I'm gonna scale it up like this. Scale it on x-axis like so. Move it like this. But just like these, and click new material. It's not a principal shader, it's going to be a volume, principal volume, and it's going to be a volume here. Density is going to be 0.01 or something, and save the file. Let's go into render mode to see this volume working. It's a bit higher. Let's go with like 0.001. Now it's too much again. Right, let's go with a lower value. And also, if we come to the light paths, we can add one light paths to the volume to get better results. And yeah, that's how it looks like. Okay, so if you select the volume here, you can see the light in the volume. You can decrease the anisotropy value to actually, I think increasing it will remove the lights. Yeah, it removed the light, and it looks better now, I think. Yeah, not too much, but like, I mean, we can go for like 0.7 or something. Yeah, that looks fine to me. We can go for it. Yeah, now you can add infinite amount of detail into it if you wish. You got Sketchfab, you got different kits, you got different picks for your 3D assets. Now it's time to move on into some rendering stuff. So for the device, we're gonna use GPU compute, and for render samples, we're gonna use maybe 128 samples. Hit enter, and for we're gonna turn on motion blur as well. Transparent is okay, and we're gonna use AGX for view transform for the final render. And output is going to be PNG. I'm going to select a location for it, and we already have it in mind, which is this location. We're going to add a new folder, call it a PNG sequence, go inside and accept it, right? Now, you got two options. If you don't want to do further changes in it, in compositing, you can just come up here and yeah, everything is just good to go. You can hit render animation to render out the entire thing, or you can just turn off the use node here and you can render out the PNG sequence with alpha channels, which means without background, and then you can composite it in After Effects. You got two options. You turn this on and you render the entire animation with background as well with all the assets, whatever you want to do with it. But I think uh, I'm just gonna go ahead and turn these off because I want to composite it in After Effects. You can composite it in Nuke. So I'm rendering the PNG. You might need to render EXR, but for now I'm rendering it at PNG with RGBA. And I'm gonna go ahead and click render animation. Yeah, let's see after render what we can do with it. So after rendering out the shot, now we are back in After Effects. All right, here you just need to click new project and you just have to double click this area and you can import your PNG sequence. Click import, right click, go to interpret footage and check the frame rate. Yeah, it's 30 frames per second, so it's totally fine. Just close it. So now it's time to import the video, and the video is right here. Click import and import it. We're gonna drag and drop this first one into the timeline, this one, and then the video here and the bottom of it. Now, as you can see, it's successfully added into it. And yeah, and one thing I want to say is I added this spaceship model. Now it's not something complicated. You can totally make this kind of animation easily. I'm gonna put the link to the spaceship model in the description down below. And yeah, this is basically how you composite it into your shot using After Effects. But here's the thing. If you want to get more realism and stuff, you could use multiple ways to do that. The first one is to actually try to add some chromatic aberration. But first of all, the most important thing is to match the colors with the background. In order to do it, I got a script. I'm not sure what you call this plugin. Yeah, a plugin, which is RGVFX from Red Giant, and they have a bunch of options for visual effects. But the one that I like is the Super Comp. You just have to drag and drop it here, or you can just come up here into your window and say and turn on Super Comp, right? Now you can just drag and drop this to here to load it. You can just expand it like this. You can add your video into it, right? And just come back here and then add your top layer into it. Click on the plus here. You will be able to add a color correction node and then click match background. By doing so, it's gonna try to match it with the background video. Maybe you can decrease the amount to maybe something like 75 percentage because I want a little bit of contrast in the foreground elements. And now you can add other effects as well. Edge erode, edge blend. We got multiple of those effects. You can try them. But I think the only effect that is really good is this color correction, which really does a good job. The other thing I want to add is chromatic aberration. And if you search for chromatic aberration, we got multiple options. We got VR chromatic aberration and immersive video. I'm going to drag and drop it into our PNG sequence. Now it's going to destroy the entire thing. It's because the settings are not perfect. So like if you look into the rate here, it's minus 10, it's 10, it's too much. So we're gonna go with like minus 0 point something like 1, and then this is going to be 0.1. So we have a little bit of this chromatic aberration going on. And the other thing, if you notice, if you zoom in on your shot, the background is actually very sharp, but the foreground is not really that much sharp. If you just pay closer attention into it. So what we can do here is we can actually blur the CGI elements by adding camera lens blur. right here. Just put it into the PNG sequence. Now it's going to blur it a lot. We don't want that much. We just want a bit like 0.5 or something. Now it's going to blur it a bit to match it. And then you can add grain into it. So you just search for add and it's going to say add grain and add those grain into the PNG. If you zoom in and this is going to show you the preview of it. You can play around with the intensity. I'm going to set the intensity to 0.5 so we don't get too much. Maybe I can go for a little bit higher value like 7 or something. And then we got the size here. It's like how much of it you want, like what's the size of it. When you decrease it, it gets smaller. And when you increase it, it gets bigger. So we're gonna go for a very smaller scale, like 0.2. But we're gonna go with the intensity of 0.2 as well. I think 0.1 is gonna be a good number. And once you're happy with it, you can change these to final output to apply these to the entire video. And after that, what you can do is you can save the file because it's important. I'm gonna save it right here. Maybe yeah, I'm gonna save it somewhere right here. I'm gonna call it comp or something. Yeah. All right. So that's how it looks like. I'm gonna use some LUTs to get a little bit of good looking color. So for LUTs, I'm gonna go to layer. I'm gonna click new, and I'm gonna add an adjustment layer right here on top of everything. And then I'm going to search for LUTs here, apply color LUT. So actually I have a bunch of color LUTs, but I found some free LUTs on YouTube. Um, I forgot the video, but I'm going to put the link as well to the LUT that you can use for colors. So you can try different of them, like the indie mode, like this one if you want. It's just amazing. Or maybe you can go for the orange and teal, which really gives you a nice look. Maybe you can go for like the warm afternoon, which really gives the cinematic feel, or maybe the fall forest. I think the fall forest is looking great, and I'm gonna go for it. I just want to make the effect a little bit smaller, so go to transform. Here's the opacity. You can set this to maybe 60%, so it's not too much. We still have the same kind of effect, but it's not just too much. And yeah, you can just save the file as well. And then you can search for lumetri color to just make a little bit of contrast and stuff. So I'm gonna put this to adjustment layer as well. I'm gonna expand the basic color and I can increase the contrast if I want. I want to add a bit of highlights as well, and I can play around with the saturation. Yeah, not too much of saturation, but like a little bit of it is better. And under creativity, there is an option called sharpen. If you increase it, you get more sharpness. So I'm going to set this to maybe 30 or something. It gets just a bit of sharpness into the shot that looks good. And we got here the vibrance as well. Yeah, it really gives like if you set these to like 0, it's not really good. But if you increase it, you get a little bit of nicer color for your video. And I'm gonna make it like 30 or something, and then save the file. All right, so that's it. You can just hit render, and you will be finished with the effect. Yeah, you can add sound effects as well, but we are done with it. So select everything, hit Control M, and then you can just export the video by clicking first of all setting the location and just hitting render, and you're finished with it. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.